Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Today is episode 80. We are starting a new week, and today's image is the mushroom house, as I call it. I decided I was ready to embark on using one of the professional pencil sets, so I looked on my list. It is in manufacturer name order. And so Caran is the first manufacturer on my list, and I have the Luminance as the first professional pencil set to use. So before I open the book to our project, I wanted to share with you the swatches and give you some stats on these pencils. I haven't done a walkthrough on these. I have owned them for many years now. These are very old swatches that I did at the time. I did them on all sorts of different paper, including Duralar, hot press, watercolor paper. I believe it was Fabriano, Canson 1557. Trying to think what Bristol Vellum, the Strathmore 300, and then this is my Nina cover copy that I use for crafting. So the swatches are in two chunks. I owned the 76 set, and then when they came out with the additional portrait set, I believe it was, the 24 to make the 100. I bought that, and I have swatched it on a separate set. So these pencils are a wood finish. They have very difficult to read numbers and letters. The numbers are not too bad on most of them. However, this one that I grabbed is a white label, and a lot of them are wonderful. Sorry, I need to do something there with the cameras, which made it shake. Sorry about that. All right, so this is a pencil that has the silver, and I don't know what the difference is. I haven't counted how many are silver. For all I know, because I know that this particular one, the raw umber 10% on the right, is part of the portrait set, and that's this page here. And I'm just wondering if there should only be 24, so I think that this has a mix. So I think that the white is the portrait set, and the silver is the original set of 76. But I am guessing. Cost-wise, I wrote some notes. So for today, to buy this set from Blick, which usually has pretty good pricing, they are $3.84 a piece, and if you buy the full 100, it's $370. So they're definitely an investment. I have only today been mocking up my color plan on copy paper, and these they do not feel like a rich, creamy pencil on the copy paper. However, you can see here on my swatches that they have a really nice, vibrant color laydown. It was difficult for me to come up with color combinations because I've never used them in this way. I have always used the natural tones. I haven't even used any of the bright colors for really anything, so this is going to be quite the adventure. But I'm ready. I have spent a lot of time preparing, but have not touched today the type of smooth paper when I did the swatches, very old. So I am just going to grab some pencils. In fact, I already have my first ones I want to use sitting right here. I sharpened most of them. I hate when I end up having to sharpen as I go. And I want to share our, oh, I'm gonna have to turn the camera off because I don't like to film this vertical way. It just is not a good dimension for YouTube. So I just wanted to be able to show you the entire swatch sheet. Did I actually share? I think I might have rushed that. I know people like to do this, so let's walk through. The color chart. As I said, I believe that each one of these sheets has 34. And I know that the portrait set came with a bunch of muted tones. So I believe that, see, you can see that I kind of put it in color family order, but not starting with the yellows like I would do today. So I have my browns, we have this random green. These two colors, they're actually pretty vibrant. The olive yellow and the spring green are very light tones. I love this grass green. The dark sap green is very beautiful. You might not be able to see how rich the color is from your angle, but it is a very deep, dark, one of the darkest greens that I have seen that actually still looks green. We have our Prussian blue, and that looks like a Prussian blue. Now I see that it didn't color on this very smooth cardstock all that well, and I do have it in one of my color combinations to use. So we'll see how that goes. And then we have a couple of greens. I love this blue green, malachite green, the ice blue. This cobalt green is pretty muted. I have it as a color combo, I believe, as well. And then we do have the white. Now, one of the main colors that I use a ton of are the lightmost colors. Buff titanium and white are the two that are preferred colors for animal portraits. So I have extras of those because I do go through them. Here's right now the size of my buff titanium, one of them. I find that I somewhere along the line couldn't find this one, so I have another one also started floating around here. So yeah, these you can see they have been well used. Here's the size of a fresh pencil. So I have a couple of the buff titaniums out and about. They are a really lovely base color that you then put color over the top of it, and you use an X-Acto type ceramic blade called a slice tool to do whiskers and fine hairs. So that is why that one gets used. I love the rainbow colors here, the yellows to oranges, deep into the reds. This perylene brown is a beautiful dark, like a brick red. Then they have purplish red. These two purples, if I were to do this all again, I would definitely be putting them in color family order. However, I keep them rubber banded in groups. So like in the big Lazy Susan, I have them all like this, bundled together by their color groupings. And even within a color grouping, you know, like, why do I have this pinkish color in with these oranges? So this goes in my orange red color family section, and all of my professional pencils are out in a big tote, bundled up in rubber bands so that they are easy for me to just pull, because then I don't have an excuse not to use them. I also, because these are all light fast pencils, I do not worry about them sitting somewhat out in the open. I don't have direct sunlight on them, but they are still in Florida lighting in the back of our house, in a Florida room that's been finished. So I don't want to leave my budget pencils out for fear that they might have their pigment ends get faded or anything over time. So I might be overthinking it, and it's maybe not a problem, but I just feel better having them tucked away in cases. Okay, so that's the first sheet. I believe this second sheet, see how this second sheet ends, and there's 2 left. But I know that these are not the colors that came in the portrait set. So let's just go through the colors. For whatever reason, we've got some blues all lined up together. They're all very beautiful. Love the light cobalt blue, the light malachite green, and see, it goes really nicely with the malachite green. Those two blend together wonderfully. We have dark flesh, a color. Look at that color, dark. Let's see if I can even pronounce that. Boy, phthalocyanine green. A very lovely deep green. I like how their colors, when they do dark really nice. We've got a pink white here. I've never actually used that. And the butternut, not used that. Again, some more lovely yellows. That means that this very small 100 set has pretty much 4 yellows. All very slight variations, but definitely a pretty significant number of yellows. And I'm sure if I put these out next to each other, they would all 4 be different from each other. Love the dark cadmium orange. We've got another big fancy name that I probably can't say. Boy. Anthraquinone carmine. And then another one. Boy, they just use fancy names. They're probably like the natural material that goes into making them. We've got a couple of, I don't know what I'd call them, muted tones here. These 3 are muted, and even terracotta is a bit on the muted side. Warm earth, love that color. Here's another very dark. It's not the black, and of course I didn't write the name down. It was not one for consistency, so I have to look that up and figure out what it is, but it looks to me like a beautiful deep blackish purple. Some nice blue, purple blue. Love this Cryosoka blue. That is a rock that is used in jewelry making, even though I can't say it. Verdigris is a very light celery color. A beautiful green, burnt ochre. Here's buff titanium. I wrote that in. I must have somehow forgot it because that is a different pen. One more sheet to go. Now we have what I think are the portrait set because of, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe some of these were already on here. All of these look like they might have already been, like this is the black, and that I'm sure came out with the original set. I'm sure there were some of the grays in the original set. I know it's 18 per side of these blocks. So it's 34 per sheet, and there was only 24 in the set that was added. So perhaps right here is where they started. See, 18. 324. Nope, so that calculation doesn't work to start with the sepia 10%. Anyhow, I'm not going to overthink it because it's pretty late and I want to get to coloring, but these are the colors. They are beautiful, very unique. A little bit challenging to make the combinations. It took me like all evening to get this far in the process because I knew I would have to like get reacquainted with these pencils. So we'll set that aside. We will bring out the book. I'm zoomed in here, close. We're going to start with the mushroom. And I'm at 15 minutes in because I gave a little intro on these pencils. And I am going to just be brave. And I've got my first one, which I probably am going to have a really hard time reading these, but this is $5.99. It is a dark burgundy. That's going to be our darkest. Now, these I believe are a wax pencil. So I should not have to do light layers in theory, but I am more of a light layer colorist than a smoosher. So I am going to just do my normal process. This is a very small, detailed little image, so I went ahead and sharpened these to get into all of the nooks and crannies today. So I will probably be starting out conservatively doing more light layers than anything. For this particular image, being pencils I am very unfamiliar with, I am going to go kind of slow and make sure that I don't do them disservice. I want them to look good when we're done, so if it takes me a little longer to get the blends working and to get these layers down, that is just the way it's going to be. And I'm not going to fret about how long it takes. So I've already, in my mind, figured this is probably a 2 to 3 part. And again, it's going to be posted the week my family is in town. We're going to see if I can get all of the episodes filmed ahead of time as much as I can in the couple of days before they arrive. So that's my darkest tone, just blocking in the color right now. The next tone, if you want to see all 4 of them together, the light being on the bottom, of course. This is what the writing looks like. And like I said, I believe that the silver is the writing on the original set. And I'm just not even going to try to read all of these. I will, of course, have the colors posted in the description. And I may even post my rough draft of the color combos when I do my chaotic mapping of colors. So now this is the middle color. With the dotting going on here, I'm not really sure where the creator intended the light source to be, so I'm just putting the light source in the front to just keep it simple. I am making this mushroom the traditional dark burgundy with tan spots. That seems to be everyone's favorite way to color. I just didn't want to have to deal with pencils I'm not very familiar with and coming up with some new color scheme. So this will be interesting when we hit the amount of pigment for it to finally fill in all the tooth. Since I have not practiced, it's just going to be what it's going to be, so we'll just see what happens. So this is the next lighter color, 350, I believe. Can I read this? Purple Red. For all of their fancy names that they have, this one is named just pretty basic. Okay, and then I'm going to block in our lightest color, which is, let's see if we can read this one, 060 through 083, and that is not going to be, it's something pink. Yeah, I can't read that. So the trick that I learned long ago, and this really isn't even the right tone for like a red, a burgundy to red, that would be more of a salmon, but to make sure that you go light enough with your red to get into the salmon. And a lot of people don't go deep enough into the lighter tones of a red when they are doing their blends. So we'll see if this works for me. Yes, these do not feel like a silky, soft, creamy, buttery pencil. They remind me of Pablo's, actually, which is related to them, and I think they're both a wax-based pencil. All right, so that is my light. I'm not going to do anything with this brightest area at this time. I do have a plan for that area, but I don't have the pencil for it out at the moment. Okay, we're gonna go backwards and start darkening things up and watch the magic happen. I am not opposed to, as the tooth gets filled in, I am not opposed to using the Caran blender pencil. We'll just see if I end up feeling that that would help to get these all smooshed into this very smooth. See those lines? Yep, not doing a very good job of smooth here. with these. So we'll see what happens. It's getting darker. I think I'm going to put my glasses on. I brought them. I am so proud that I remembered. They're not my favorite ones. Oh, we're starting to get a little glossy. The magic is happening. I am so late tonight filming this. Hub is humoring me over at his desk trying to be quiet. But it took me a long time to get a plan together. And of course it didn't help that I was pretty distracted by my mom. Who is very excited. She bought this book. I think it's the only coloring book she's ever bought, and I gave her pencils last year. So we will see. I told her she didn't need to bring any of her pencils, just bring the book. I have lots of pencils for her to choose from. Okay, let's get darker. It's starting to look beautiful. I am now starting to put a little bit heavier pressure, but not too much. I'm trying to let the tooth fill in as naturally on its own without me forcing it as I can possibly make it happen. All right, now, darkest color. And it is $5.99. Ooh, I can read this with my glasses, and look at how nice it looks. And see, I have to rotate it. It is Crimson Aubergine. Aubergine? Yep, that is really easy to read. I'm going to have to use my phone to read all of these. It's so funny. This is day 21 of me coloring in this book. And I have lost my fear and trepidation of actually coloring in a coloring book. And that is a very exciting feeling, to feel like I've arrived and actually doing this. Oh, look at that tooth fill in. And then see how my hand, I'm getting closer and closer to the pigment. So this is again my darkest color, and I'm gonna try to accelerate this process. Let's go to the other side now. I am concentrating, I can tell. Just envision me sitting here with my reading glasses or craft glasses and my tongue between my teeth as I focus, just like a kid. Okay, I'm going to walk backwards the other way, and then I'll probably I went from the darkest color to the second darkest color. Tooth is filling in nicely. I wonder if this is going to be such a rich pigment that I need to get glassine before I close it up for the night. Or I'm going to get, this kind of looks to me like it is going to be a little bit on the messy side. But we'll see. Okay. Everyone says this is a slow medium, and it sure is. I'm going to have to take erasers to these flowers because they are not going to be red. All right, one lighter. Let's see how this one is. Can we read it? Yep, purple red, 350. going to have to run, when I see the pencil marks, a way to hide them or get rid of them is to, let's see if I've got something here to show you. So, let's see what happens when I rub a paper towel on it. And see, now it's so messy. My stones are turning pink. But I can clean that up. I've got erasers. It just smooths out the pencil marks when you do that with a paper towel. All right, one last color. This one is the lightest. It's the pinkest. It is the ultramarine pink. Oh, I can read that. And it's, I noticed it's ultramarine, no E, not actually marine pink. There we go, ultramarine pink. 083. I was trying to keep this, the hues of this mushroom still on the bright, vibrant side, not on the maroon side. So that's why I went with this pink as the lightest tone. All right, we have a lovely mushroom with the light source shining right to the front. And I'm ready to move on to the base, and then I will leave this light source as light as it is on the front for now. And I have my 3 mushroomy brown tan colors. And let's see, we've got raw umber 10%, 842. I am reading this through the camera lens. Sepia 10%, 902, and dark flesh 748. So I'm going to start with the light, and I don't know if these pink, the little over the lines that I did, will cause any problems, so I am not going to clean them up. All right. Going to play with these dots, say them telling me that I need to have shadows, which is interesting because I picked a light source that doesn't really work for where these rings are. Yep, look at that. That's the middle tone, and I got a little carried away there. Here, let's see. Playing with this, I should be able to blend that out. And I can. Darkest color coming in. This particular dark color, and what I've noticed with these is they have enough pigment in them that they sound scratchy. And they feel a little scratchy. When I go to work on the house tomorrow, this house, I will have to clean those steps up. Okay, now I am going to my lightest color. It's looking very cute. I can manipulate the pigments very nicely. All right, so there's the top of our mushroom. I'm going to move on. We're at 45 minutes. So I think I'm going to get some color down here underneath the mushroom and call it. I did the hardest part. For me, the most intimidating part of the deal was going to be getting this mushroom colored, and I did it. So I think everything else is going to be smooth sailing. Probably the next most challenging part will be figuring out the background and exactly what I want to do with it. So yeah, these remind me of a mix between the Pablos, which are one of my newer professional sets. I think I got those maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now. Time just flies. So a cross between the Pablos, because these are a little drier feeling, and then the Holbeins, because these are a little bit on the messy side. And I can tell that the way the pigment goes down, it's a very maneuverable pigment, which I really like. In a way, it feels a little bit like watercolor painting to me. The pigment is just so easy to move around. I'm going to keep this underside somewhat simple. I grabbed the darkest one, the dark flesh. I am going to have to clean that up. I see a little bit of that resist that I've talked about off and on, where you get close to the lines, the ink, and there's this little white resist going on. Okay, so I'm reaching across here. I have this space here from the spine of the book that is a little bit annoying for me, mainly because I am new to coloring in a coloring book. It just took a very small one for me to get brave enough to try it. Okay. I am switching to the middle tone that I hadn't done anything with yet. And that's trying to make that focus for you. There we go. Sepia 10%, 902. All right, 48 minutes, going over time. I blame it on doing an intro to these pencils, since I've not got a walkthrough to point you guys to. All right, so see if I can squish that whole mushroom. Not quite the whole thing, but most of it. Very lovely pencils to work with. It's going to be very nice. And I am finished. So let me know if you have any questions and what you think of these pencils. Have you used them before? How do they work for you? I love to hear from everybody, and I'm having a great time coloring a little bit every day. It's crazy to know that I'm actually doing it. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will meet you back here tomorrow, and we will do more coloring.